Mm-mm-mm. All right, we're back. There we go. Awesome. I have no idea what happened. YouTube just blipped out on me and just went down. So I had to go ahead and restart everything. I wasn't sure if you guys can still see me, but hopefully everybody makes their way back in here. Mosey's on in here. I'll give it a second to go down. But good morning. I guess I'll run it back. Welcome to the pre-market prep session for July 25th, 2024. Happy Friday Eve. I'm excited to get after it today, right? Continue learning, growing, getting 1% better daily. That's the goal. That's always the goal, right? Yeah, there we go. I love it. Coco, awesome, awesome. Yes, greetings. Latrice, hello. Everybody making your way back in, hello. No idea what happened. YouTube just glitched out on me and closed down the stream. And then when I came back in, my webcam wasn't working. So we're getting it popping. Yeah, good morning again, back again. Look, I love it. Pushing through. You guys know the vibes. But like I was saying before YouTube wanted to ruin the moment. I'm grateful for my tribe. I'm thankful for my tribe. And I'm glad to be surrounded by people who want to see me win and want to see each other win, right? Understanding that everybody can be going through things and that type of thing, but we're always looking to get better, right? We know that emotions as well as kind of states of being are temporary, right? You might not be in the best state coming into this Thursday, but that's temporary, right? You might not have the most optimal feelings coming into this Thursday, but that's just temporary. Us taking the time to take inventory of ourselves and making sure that we are learning and growing and leveling up, right? That's who you want to be around. That's who you want to spend time around. People who focus on the important things, right? And people who aren't rooted in negativity. You always want to be rooted in positivity because there's always something you can be negative about, right? Always, but it's draining. It is draining it manifests in your body as well when you hold on to negativity. And you don't know how to look for the silver linings and things. So, be around people because you're not always going to feel positive. You're not always going to feel cheery, but be around people who, push you back into that state and who energize you and who pour into you, and not those that subtract from you, right? And feed into those negative thoughts or those intrusive thoughts, right? Let's be great and continue to push each other to be great. And I love that I can be in this environment and that we continue to foster and bring people into the environment that do that same thing, right? Because if you're rooted in negativity and everything that goes wrong and woe is me, that's not where I am with things, right? And that's not what I attract, and that's not what we attract. So we hope to repel those people and then to attract those people that are looking to do great things and really looking to level up and fulfill themselves. So I'm excited to be here, right, and get into it. Yes, I love it. Paul, good morning to you as well. Now let's dive into our newsletter here. Top news, look out below. Stocks only go up until they don't. The NASDAQ yesterday suffered its worst day of 2024, with the tech-heavy index sliding more than 3% for the first time in more than 400 trading days. And I think for the S&P, it fell over 2% for the first time in like 356 trading days. So the plunge wiped out hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap from the Magnificent Seven as concerns abound for big tech earnings that have propelled the broader market to record highs. This is just how markets go, right? An uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows. You have to put in highs, but you also have to put in lows, and people forget about that, right? At some point, and I talked about this because, the market had been on easy mode for the past month, and we're just crushing it, right? Hitting, play after play after play after play. And we avoided that initial tech sell-off, right? That happened with the chips. It happened last week and the week before that, right? It was kind of 2 weeks of straight selling in the big tech names, and we avoided that because money was hitting the small caps and we were there for the small caps. But eventually things catch up with you, right? You can't just have a perfect score for a month, 2 months in a row and expect nothing to happen. And you start to get a sense of these things as you've been doing this for as long as I have, and you put in the literal thousands of hours that it takes to develop mastery and continue to hone mastery. And you recognize, hey, there's probably going to be crap hitting the fan soon, right? That's just how it goes. It's not like, oh, we can just go up, and then there is no, capitulation at some point. And that's exactly what we got. So it's nothing to be scared of. The sky isn't falling. This is natural. When you should start to feel nervous is when you get nothing but up. That is not healthy, right? Those are actually the worst conditions to trade. Like the bleed up of like 2 years ago or just during the summer, we just went up, but it was like incrementally, and it was such ugly price action. Like when you have ups and downs, you have price action that you can attach price roadmap tools to, right? When you just go up and you just bleed up, there's not much for you to use to extrapolate where you can go from there. So I welcome sell-offs, right? And I want this to happen because this is healthy movement. When you get unhealthy movement, that's when you have really no idea what you're doing, and you're just hoping that things just continue to bleed up. And you also can't even make short-term plays, right? Because it's just like, it's like we open lower, we end marginally higher, we open lower, we end marginally higher. It's like the only thing you can be involved in is leaps and long swings, and you have to wait day after day as those accumulate bit by bit and then eventually take profit. It's not a fun market, right? So we want this. We want a market with volatility. We want a market with good, healthy pullbacks. And we want to see big selling days like this, right? Get us to a point where we're at a strong, support level with big buyers, find a base and continue to push. Snapshot, the most immediate catalyst for the sell-off was a moderate earnings report from Alphabet and a disappointing earnings call from tech darling Tesla. Is this actually what, kind of caused it? The thing was, we were already at a level where it was like that we were falling through, and there was already some capitulation happening, some selling that happened. Google's earnings really wasn't very bad. It was average, right? It was a moderate earnings report, and then Tesla, left something to be desired. But this is really something where the dominoes were already in effect, already starting to fall. And, I'm not going to go and blame this wholly on Google and Tesla, but that definitely did play a role, right? It was definitely part of it. If they were good, we probably could have got a little bounce, and since they were bad, we didn't. And then you just saw the put volume rolling yesterday. And that was something we were on top of as well. Now, I personally took yesterday as a day to reorient myself. I'm all about like making sure I'm on the right page with markets. And that's what I wanted to do, right? Take the time to reorient myself. But, saw the put volume come in, called that out. If you wanted to take advantage of that, it was fully ready there to take advantage of, and they paid over the course of the day. But where I am is really making sure that, okay, I understand and have a good handle on the movement that's happening. And I'm planning my next move well in advance to understand, right? And to get a grasp. You don't want to get in this habit of chasing, and you being 2 steps behind the market, because yes, some days it'll pay, right? Sometimes the market opens up red and people say, oh man, that was bad. I'm just going to buy some puts and hopefully it works. And what happens? It does work, right? But then there are tons of other times where that doesn't work. And over time, all the market ends up being for you as a black hole. So make sure you do the little things, right? Be patient, take the time to understand. Because if you're just, oh, hey, well, this happened, and then naturally this has to happen. Tesla's a big company, right? The market has to go down. That's not the case, right? Because that same thought process would have gotten you absolutely destroyed based off the inflation data that we got, most recently. And everyone thinks, oh, yeah, the market is going to be amazing. And it wasn't, right? Money rotated in the small caps. IWM crushed it, which paid us, right? But everybody who thought SPY and QQQ and all those were going to gap up or push heavy off of the fact that we got the best inflation news, the first negative inflation read in forever, right? That's clearly bullish, you would think, but it didn't end up being that way. So making sure that you kind of understand how to process information and get on the right pages, markets, and be ahead of them, not chasing behind them, is key. We're not playing a game of cat and mouse, right? This isn't you run and I chase you. This is I set up a well-timed attack, and then I spring and I control, right, as much as I can, right? I understand the flow and the path that I'm taking you down. It's more so setting a trap than actively running after something. That's what you want to be when you're trading markets here. Now, let's see here. Spooking investors were shifting tones on the promise of artificial intelligence for the time being, with Google not reporting any revolutionary profits from its new suite of products and Elon Musk continuing to kick his robotaxi vision down the road. The AI trade has helped support the rally since late 2022, but investors are increasingly demanding that hefty investments in technology will produce a return, or something that can at least be materially seen nearly 2 years after the release of ChatGPT. And this is where we get into, kind of that whole speculation about the AI bubble, right? And you guys already know my take on it and when I believe it ends and things like that, based off of when they plan on reaching that final goal. But it's just important to realize that people want returns on these things, right? And right now, these big companies are trying to figure out a way that they can really, really monetize the amazing technology that is generative AI. And they're working on it. They're getting there, but there's also a lot of, economic headwinds to handle. With the recession that we're in, I feel like it's fine to say that because people feel like it, right? You go to the grocery store, you feel like it. You go to the McDonald's drive-through, you feel like it. We popped through to get Chick-fil-A milkshakes, and it was like $7 for a milkshake. It was like might have been $5.75. It was somewhere between $5 and $7, and I was like, man, this is crazy talk. But that's where we're at, right? And when you're in those circumstances, you struggle with things like ad revenue because people aren't paying for ads as much, right? You have the most companies that have gone out of business, small businesses, in decades as of right now, right? So it's just a tough time where you've got to invest in AI and you've got to invest in learning how to put your money to work for you in markets. Those are the two main things. But you have companies, right, where like YouTube down on ad revenue. So they're trying to navigate these headwinds, but also put all of their free cash flow toward this new technology. So it's like you trying to juggle with this hand and trying to, I don't even know, shoot a bow and arrow with this hand. It's like you really need both hands to do it, and you just don't have that luxury. Now, tech is not the only sector that's experiencing a crisis of confidence as earnings season gets underway. On the macro scale, wage growth in the labor market are cooling, with the unemployment rate recently reaching 4.1% from 3.4% a year ago. US GDP growth data will come later today, while the Fed's favorite inflation gauge will be released tomorrow. That's going to be a big piece of information, right? PCE doesn't tend to move the market as much as CPI, but it's the one that the Fed pays the most attention to. So we want to see some positive, direction in terms of inflation decreasing for that PCE number. Now, let's see here. Providing more clues to the future monetary policy and the interest rate environment. The next FOMC meeting takes place next week. So that'll be fun. FOMC meeting next week, right? We get some volatility. And we also, I believe, have some big earnings reports next week. So we'll see. But if we get that redo where we have like Apple reporting earnings and, big members of the Magnificent Seven, companies that have value that rivals the GDP of certain countries, right? If we have those reporting and we have FOMC meeting, it's going to be a wild week, right? It's going to be a wild week. There's still potential for opportunity, but you just got to expect that we can get some chop going into those earnings. FOMC can be crazy, right? We definitely have monetizable opportunity during the FOMC day. For the most part, that's the case. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But if we do have another one of those, that's like volatility Armageddon week, because you just have no idea what way things can go. And we can be sitting, doing nothing. And then next thing you know, based off of one of these earnings, we've gapped up or gapped down. In terms of seeking alpha commentary, quote, is this just a random dip or the beginning of a deeper correction? For most investors, it doesn't really matter as long as the bull market eventually resumes, right? Seeking alpha analyst Demir Tokic. He's not wrong. Technically, the S&P 500 is in the minor dip territory. What happens next depends on the fundamentals. Alphabet earnings don't give us evidence the bubble burst yet. We will have to wait for NVIDIA earnings in late August to get confirmation whether we are in the process of Gen AI bubble burst. In addition, the economic data will be important. If the disinflationary trend continues while the labor market does not weaken further, the Fed could cut in September, and this could provide some support to value stocks. Yeah, guys, look, when has the market ever finished red right during an election year? Never. Right? This doesn't happen. It's in everyone's best interest to keep this train rolling, right? So for all the people that are like, oh, the bubble's bursting, it doesn't matter, because if they decrease rates in September, then you're going to be right back on the way up. So like I said, I don't believe in the dichotomy that's often forced upon us as part of like Western psychology, where it's like, you got to be a bull or you got to be a bear. And like for bears, if you are celebrating that 2% down day, right, 3% for the NASDAQ, after the months and months and months of you getting destroyed trying to go short in this market, congrats, right? That's like one win for 5,000 losses. You got to be able to play both sides. You got to be able to do both. We traded puts on BK over the weekend, and those puts came through for nice profit, right? Put swings still, going crazy in that regard as well. So it's like, you got to be able to play both sides. You aren't one or the other. If you're an effective trader, you can do both, right? You have to know how to do both, whether you're an effective trader or effective investor. So I doubt that this is the beginning of some crazy, sell-off, but you always have these headlines whenever we have, a big red day. Sports news, no slam dunk. The drama around the next pro basketball media deal is taking its next steps as the National Basketball Association rejected an attempt by Warner Bros. Discovery, ticker WBD, to remain an incumbent by exercising matching rights. The NBA reached a $76 billion plus package deal last week with ESPN, who's owned by Disney, right? And then NBC and Amazon, leaving out multi-decade partners TNT and TBS, which are owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. The next moves may be legal with the new, the next moves may be legal with the new media arrangement set to take effect in 2025. Quote, we have matched the Amazon offer as we have a contractual right to do, and do not believe the NBA can reject it, said TNT in a statement. I mean, it's tough. It'll be the end of an era if so. I'm not a huge basketball guy, mainly just because the games come on so late. And whenever I do get back into basketball, I just let everything else falter, right? I don't wake up. I don't exercise. I don't do my morning routine. So basketball doesn't mean that much to me because, myself and my goals and my kids, right? Even though I don't have kids, I've got a fur baby now. But, all of that means more to me than staying up to watch, Steph Curry or LeBron. So I just don't watch it as much. But it would be the sad into an era like if Charles Barkley and all those guys weren't on there commenting about NBA. It wouldn't be the same NBA, frankly. Aviation plea deal. Boeing has formally filed a guilty plea with the Department of Justice regarding making false representations about key software for the 737 MAX linked to two fatal crashes in 2018 and 2019. The Boeing Mafia, right? At this point, it's just an ongoing crime family that is Boeing. The DOJ noted that Boeing neglected to ensure employees documented removing parts during airplane manufacture and didn't confirm if mechanics and inspectors actually completed work. Quote, we will continue to work transparently with regulators as we take significant actions across Boeing to strengthen our safety, quality, and compliance programs, the plane maker declared. It will also pay a $243.6 million fine as part of the agreement. I mean, they just keep paying out this money, You might say, hey, Adam, does that mean we should look to, get puts on Boeing? I don't like trading Boeing. Boeing is a very extraordinarily annoying trade most times. So I try to not really indulge in it too much. I'd rather turn my attention somewhere else. So I don't think there's some up yet. I got to load it up in the background. But, you might hear lots of talk about Boeing and think, oh, they've got to drop it like it's hot and Boeing's going to tank. Unfortunately, when they're supposed to stay up, Boeing goes down. When Boeing is supposed to go down, it can't go down and it just goes up, right? So their planes work in the wrong direction and their stock works in the wrong direction too. Now, pushing forward here, real estate, CRE stress. Property finance company Blackstone Mortgage Trust, ticker BXMT, sank nearly 12% yesterday after it slashed its dividend by almost 25% as higher interest rates and falling values drive more defaults in the commercial real estate sector. The reduced dividend, quote, reflects a sustainable level relative to long-term earnings power, said CEO Katie Keenan. In the spotlight is a call by short seller Carson Block from March, which noted that the property market's troubles were likely in the early innings. He also forecast that multifamily real estate would follow offices in the most troubled CRE sectors. So the whole real estate market really shifting, and it's been happening for almost 10 years now. I think it really started with, kind of office buildings and WeWork, right? And just how much it's changed. And, I feel like especially given COVID and working from home. So I'd probably say major changes in the last 7 years and then ramping up about 4 years ago. But working from home and how that's, kind of understood as something that's just part of work life now. And we're still working against it, but you got all these office buildings and now, it's just eking into other areas like multifamily homes. So there's a lot that's going on, and I'm sure that commercial real estate could definitely use a lifeline when it came to interest rates, and they're most definitely waiting for it and looking forward to it. I hear you, baby. I'll be over there in a second. I know you're getting restless. In today's markets in Asia, Japan down 3.3%, pretty much red all the way across the board. Hong Kong down 1.8, China down 0.5, India down 0.1, the FTSE in London down 0.6, Paris down 1.8%, Frankfurt down 1.2%. The Dow down 0.1, S&P down 0.2, NASDAQ down 0.3, crude oil down 1.4%, gold down 1.6, Bitcoin down 3.6% to 64,171. We get GDP numbers, data, 8:30 a.m. Don't have Thinkorswim up, so I don't know, kind of how the market is reacted to those, but I'll get into it in the trading group. Jobless claims data this morning, wholesale inventories. So a lot of like random pieces of data coming out this morning, but the biggest one is for sure the Q2 GDP data. And then remember, tomorrow we get that PCE inflation report. So what else is happening? The biggest IPO of the year, a temperature-controlled warehouse REIT. Trump to deliver keynote speech at Bitcoin conference in Nashville. Ford, ticker F, profitability skids on higher warranty costs, EV losses. Chipotle, ticker CMG, soars as restaurant margins improve. Peers gain. IBM shares jump as results and guidance top expectations. Biden says time for new, fresh voices in Oval Office address. China surprises markets again by cutting key policy loan rate. Succession feud, legal battle over Murdoch's media empire. And then AT&T, ticker T, subscriber ads beat estimates, free cash flow swells. And then Wells Fargo set to pull name from Philly Sports Arena. So goodbye to the Wells Fargo Philly Sports Arena. But that'll wrap us up today on this fine Thursday morning. If you guys want to say hello, maybe I'll bring her over here to take us out. Hey there. Hey there. Hey. Hey. All right. There you go. Say hi to the Get Some family. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Stevie signing off. No bites, just licks. There we go. Kisses. Bye, guys. This is Stevie signing off. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our last pre-market prep of the week. Have a good one.